Happy March 8th here. Let's jump into this. Scott, I'm going to jump real quick into first just a quick change. Linda Crombie joining us unexpectedly. Hopefully Ken's not going to drop in the background there.
He might. He's just in the other room.
Just go lock the door quick, please. So for those that don't know Linda, she is married to our very distinguished Granville city manager, Ken Crombie, and some kid named Mike in there too, I think. So kind of put up with him at times. But anyway, Linda was going to join us. Our clerk gave me a shout about an hour ago, mentioned you're going to be joining us and wanted to introduce yourself as a representative for the Walker Granville Community Foundation, or Granville Walker Community Foundation, I should add. I think it's GW. So with that introduction, I'll let you give a little background about the group for those that don't know about you and the great things that you're doing.
Great. Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Linda Crombie, and I am currently the board president for the Granville Walker Foundation, and your clerk, Sarah Bidlack, is the vice president of our foundation. We are a 501c3. We are all volunteer at this point, and our goal is to raise the money for an endowment to serve the Granville and Walker communities in perpetuity. We have a board of currently of 12 members, so we'd like to get that up to 15. And we have 7 committees of these volunteers that do the work of the foundation. And those committees include fundraising, which is pretty much top priority currently as we are a startup, marketing, investment, the funds that we have raised, we want to make sure we invest those well and raise as much money as we can to give back to the communities. Operations, making sure that we do all of our paperwork and due diligence. The granting committee, which will, once we have a large enough endowment, will grant funds to the community projects and programs that serve all ages within both of our communities. And we have broken those areas down into 5 pretty broad categories: health and human services, education, parks and environment, economic and community betterment, and arts and culture. So those are the areas that we would fund. And again, those are very broad and would include both programming and capital projects when we get to that point. Our goal is to really align with both the city's nonprofits and governments to make sure that we're all doing as much as we can to make these communities a great place to live and to work, which of course they already are. So what we would ask of you is, one, we want to make sure you know who we are. So the Granville Walker Foundation, and someday hopefully will be as large as the Grand Rapids Community Foundation. 2, if you have an interest or know someone who would be interested in serving on our board or one of the committees, we would love that. We want to get as many people from the communities, from both communities in, and make sure that we are representing both communities on our board demographically. That's important to us. We want to make sure that we have input from all areas. And then finally, and this is the easiest one for all of you, if you have a Facebook page, if you could just like us, and then you'll hear information. Once COVID is done, one of the things we had hoped to do with our strategic plan was to participate more in the community service activities that go on. Here in Granville, we do a Buck Creek cleanup every year. It got canceled last year because of COVID. Hopefully that'll happen again, and then our board will be there. That's one of the ways that we want to get word out about who we are and what we do and what we're trying to accomplish in the long run. So if you could just do that one thing, that would be greatly appreciated. If you have an interest, again, in serving with us, or you know someone who would, please feel free to contact me. It's lindacrombie@gmail.com, or you can go through the website, granvillewalkerfoundation.org. And if you wish to help us with our fundraising, feel free to make a gift. We are always appreciative of that, and you can do that right on our website, again, granvillewalkerfoundation.org. So a couple of you look familiar. I know I was at a DDA meeting last month. So I see some familiar faces. Does anyone have any questions? Wow.
Yeah, Linda. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I would love to learn a little bit more. I'm looking at your website right now, and I see your goal for your endowment is 2 million. Can I ask how far you are from that?
We're a long way from that. We have the first 100,000 in.
Okay.
So we have a long way to go.
Sure. And then also in looking at the website, I don't see information related to the committees, and I didn't know if you had like a one-page or a PDF or something that we might be able to have a copy of. It's a little bit easier to talk about, you know, the opportunities and help spread the word if we have some of that concrete information. So
absolutely,
you know, like what committees might people be volunteering?
Would it be easiest for me to send those to Sarah and have her get that out to all of you? Is that the best way?
I would think so.
Okay.
Do you agree, Carol? I think that would be.
Oh
nice.
yeah, that would probably be best.
Perfect. I will absolutely send that paperwork to Sarah and she can email it out to all of you. Thank you so much for asking, Carol. I appreciate it.
Sure, yeah, just love to help get this off the ground. I know I poked at it before and never really made a very solid connection. So I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
No, but thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much for what you do. I know the cities appreciate your time as well. All right. Well, I will leave you to the rest of your very exciting agenda.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor, I think you're muted.
Boy, all that wisdom, Commissioner Rapp, I just shared with the group and nobody heard a word of it, so. Are you awake over there, Commissioner Rapp? That's why I fell asleep. We're good, sorry. We're having some fun in here, folks. So anyway, that being said, Scott, I'll turn over to you. There are two things Scott's going to cover here in the time. We've got plenty of time. One is the MDOT agreement, which is the only true resolution we have on the agenda this evening. And then the second is in the state of the city. I have given a very special shout out to Scott and his team. I use the term meaningful innovation in some of the projects that we have, and sometimes they're ones that we conventionally don't think of. And he shared something with us earlier today. Daryl Frank and I thought it'd be really appropriate to share with the commissioners is something that he has conceptualized, and I think it's a pretty cool little thing. So Scott, that being said, we'll let you take it on the MDOT first then.
Since I'm the only one on the agenda, I guess the very exciting meeting is us. So I'll try to make this fun, but not the most exciting topic here. First off, you've got a resolution in front of you and an MDOT contract for the Kinney Avenue improvements. As I bring these agreements to Jeff Sluggett, every time I get the same response back. He says, you know, yada, 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 boilerplate language, same as last time, same warnings as last time, which I hate to keep giving you the same speech, but he's comfortable with the items in there. We take a little bit of risk every time we do one of these projects in case we run into like a serious environmental problem or something like that. But we've done a very good job with our consultants in managing these issues. And so generally we're comfortable with the contract. A couple details on the project. As you can see from our memo, we've got two different grants associated with the project. One is an STP grant, which is primarily for resurfacing and reconstruction of roads. That's about $755,000. And then we've got a TAP grant, Transportation Alternative Program, which is generally for trail projects, can also be used for the old kinds of enhancements like downtown DDAs and things. And we've got $307,000 for that. But because the bid came in very good, that one might be slightly reduced. We'll have to wait and see how things all work out in the end. Our total construction project is up about 1.4 million, and total project budget is about 1.77. And we don't see that entire hit in this budget because we've been budgeting for this coming into our third year. with all the different design and pre-engineering work that's been done. So it's a much smaller hit than it would look like there. So those are some maybe details on the project. The project will, we actually have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this week, but the real bulk of the work is not going to start until the end of May. Our hope was to kind of minimize a lot of the disruption to school and buses. But you will see some tree clearing this month because we've got to have the trees down before the Indiana bat issue comes into play, and we're not allowed to take trees down after April 1st. So that's a summary on the contract and the resolution. And of course, the resolution is MDOT's way of ensuring that the city commission sees it and it's not just adopted by staff folks.
And Commissioners DeShane and Glanville, probably look to you for approval and support if you're comfortable with it at the 7 o'clock meeting.
Yeah.
Commissioner DeShane right in your backyard, and Commissioner Glanville, I know the trail connection there is near and dear to your heart. So if the rest of the commission would agree to support that, we'll address that at 7 o'clock then. All right.
Yeah, I do have some comments. I think it was a great job that I like the way that you broke it out into part A and part B. Really happy that you have done the due diligence to get the grant so that it's you know, financially I don't know, we're not spending as much taxpayer dollars. And then what are you concerned about that short window of time with getting the trees down? That seems to be kind of aggressive.
It is aggressive, and I think part of the problem is because we didn't get this MDOT contract until about 10 days ago. And
Okay.
MDOT usually sends these out quite early. And in this case, we just didn't get it very early. However, we've only got 10 trees to take down.
Okay.
So a good contractor can get those all down in a day. To be honest, we're a little bit more worried about some of the utility work that has to occur out there that we're going to coordinate as well. And you may see some lane closures over the next 6 weeks or so as Consumers Energy goes out there and puts new poles in the ground and puts and strings the power up on the new poles. You know, those are probably going to be more critical path items.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. No, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm pretty excited about the next little section of our trail. So looking forward to that coming together. But I wanted to check, I know we always kind of cross our T's and dot our I's on these things, but I know people, you know, the rumor mill swirls when we start cutting trees and things like that. So I just want to make sure that we're staying ahead of the game on this with communications, letting people know what's going on all our social channels, kind of give them the step-by-step, you know, and doing it in such a way so that they see, you know, the positive outcome of this project, just to, like I said, kind of keep people informed and let them know what the benefits are ahead of time. It might help control some of the spin that gets out there.
And that did come up earlier today, and we've had a couple of meetings with these folks, but we'll probably put out something in the next, probably a week. I think we want to wait till after the pre-construction meeting, and we want to wait till after MDOT formally approves it because we're on a little, we've got to get that stuff lined up, I'll say.
Okay.
But I would like to have that meeting in the next week, or if it's not going to be a meeting, it'll be a mass mailing to just remind everybody of who the point people are. But we're in really good shape here because we've already met with most of the folks out here.
Great. Yeah. Like I said, we might want to think about having Nicole put some stuff up there too for us. Just
Perfect. Good idea.
because so many people drive down Kinney, you know, even if they're not in the area, they're going to be a lot of conjecture about what we're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be very disruptive, you know, and I always try to be honest about this. So yeah, it's going to be bad, and people are going to think the world's coming to an end. But, you know, I hope when this one's all done, this is going to be a real capstone to some of the work that we've done on Kinney to finally get that completed and have a 3-lane section all the way down to Remembrance Road.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Scott.
And I think on that point, to build on that, one of the things that we typically do, if you've not been through a major process like this that goes through some of our more populated neighborhoods, police will meet with engineering as we kick this off. There will be additional patrols through the neighborhood. I can think of the last time we did some work on Kinney, there was a fair amount of traffic going through Randall, sometimes a little faster than what the posted speed limits were. And there'll be definitely directed patrols as that project is underway to ensure the safety of that neighborhood is kept up to snuff. So that's just something that we standardly do as part of our process. So looking forward to that. And then Scott, before you do the meaningful innovation, I forgot to mention everyone, Commissioner Groders is still out of state currently and unable to be on tonight. I should have mentioned that right at 6:30. So for a couple of people that might have texted me, my apologies for not mentioning it earlier. So I'll look for an excused absence for her at the 7 o'clock meeting. But Scott, let's talk about meaningful innovation.
Okay. About 2 weeks ago, we got a surprise notice from the Metro Council, who handles a lot of the grants that come through for transportation projects. And there's a new funding source that is available for a very quick, short time called HIP, H-I-P. And the majority of those funds are associated with COVID-related relief. And regardless of your political affiliation or beliefs, some of this stuff is set up to be used for infrastructure. And so we want to make sure that we take advantage of everything that we can get for infrastructure. So there's about $3 million available to our region, which sounds like a lot of money, but when you think about all the agencies in our region, it's not very much money. But each agency was allowed to put together a project list and come in and fight and scrap for some of that money. We had that meeting last week. And what we did was we looked at our different projects, and we had to choose a project from what's called the illustrative list. And that's a list of projects where the Metro Council has done environmental clearance and had public hearings and things like that. And so the list is actually quite small. There's not too many things on it. There were a couple projects that we looked at, like a Center Drive resurfacing that goes around the Green Ridge Apartments, very low volume road, not real sexy in terms of checking all the different boxes that you'd want to see for a big grant project. And we had a few others like that. But there was one that that really stood out, and that was looking at the Bristol Bridge at Panel. And to take a step back, last fall, I believe it was at a traffic committee, Commissioner Gilbert said, I'd really like to know what it would cost to make that into 2 lanes wide, but not a lot taller, because we talk about that an awful lot. So we have been working on that this fall. Steve, I know I haven't really talked to you about it, but we did get a final report here in the last week or two, a last week push, I guess. And we've got some drawings put together on kind of a crazy conception for that, where we could have 2 16-foot wide culverts, square culverts or box culverts put in place, one for each lane, and then a smaller box culvert for a sidewalk. And it looks a little bit like something you'd see out east, because I think what it would do is to harness the character of what we've got in that area. It wouldn't allow major trucks to go through. We could still get snowplows and things through, but it's a really innovative approach at trying to protect the culture in there from a planning perspective, while also enhancing the transportation. So, talk to Daryl a little bit about this, talk to the Metro Council people, and we all felt like this is the kind of a unique opportunity that presents itself for a project like this. So we turned it in, and it was fairly well received by the group. We're still fighting with a dozen other communities about trying to get some of this money. And it's a long shot for us, but I think what we did in selecting this potential project and unique project is we're in the hunt maybe to try to get a little bit of money. And if it doesn't work out, well, then we've created awareness for this. And we also have a pretty slick price tag for something like this. We think we can do this for about $980,000 or right around $1 million, which, when you think about a bridge replacement, that's really efficient. So while the report's not issued yet and you haven't seen it, we did put this in for this innovative funding source, and we're excited about all the different questions we got. I think we got more questions than any other project on the list, which is fun. And when you think about it, it's a bridge from 1907, a single lane bridge. And when others look around the community at some of their their projects, this has to rise right to the top in terms of need. So we're hopeful. And if it doesn't work out, we'll keep talking about it, and we'll, see if we can find another type of funding source. And Steve, we will get, as soon as we're polished up and ready, we'll get that report out to you and the rest of the commission so that you can see that. Don't want you to think we forgot you.
I thought our first ward commissioners might be doing cartwheels on the screen. I'm thinking about it.
No, so I'll jump in with some comments, Mr. Mayor, if that's all right.
Please.
No, Scott, that's awesome to hear that that you guys have put that together and that we're even in the hunt for some funding for a real project there. I know I know that you're fully aware of the sensitivities in the area, and it sounds like we've got a pretty innovative idea to try and address the issue. I look forward to seeing the designs and drawings and all the information in the proposal. I really do. And I guess I'll withhold further comment until then, but it's definitely an area that's ripe for this type of project. And really, I think from the public safety perspective, in terms of the traffic movement, it would be big if we could get it done.
I agree.
It would be another one of those cool projects that, it's nice to do resurfacings and simple infrastructure projects like that. But I think what really keeps us going is when we can do a fun one like this.
Scott, is there anything we can do to help push that along?
Not yet. I guess I want to do just a little bit more due diligence before I push it super hard too, because if we've got one of those impediments that you can't get by, I hate to call in all favors and then, not be able to deliver. But at this point, every time we look at some difficult component of this, we seem to see a solution. So
Great.
That's good. But I think there will be some work to do in the coming weeks and months if we get lucky here, and it'll be fun work.
Great. Well, keep us posted. Thank you for your innovative thinking on that.
Awesome. All right, good stuff. Anything else for Scott before we let him go? Any concerns or questions with Kinney Avenue? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and cut Scott loose. Give him some time back in the night.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Scott. Thank you. All right, it is 6:54. Let's get a little bit of background, if we can, start with our comments from the clerk's office. Jessica, anything that we should be aware of?
Not at this time.
Good, thank you. Let's jump to the city managers. Mr. Wash.
Good evening. Just one item to let you know that we are going to do a public hearing for the English Hills project on March 24th, and that will be both in person and via Zoom. Right now we have a 25-person limit for the in-person, and then the rest hopefully will be on Zoom. If you want to see the plans, Tricia is putting things together, and we'll soon have that available. If you're in the office and you want to stop in my office, the plan is on the review table. I gave it a quick look over, and I can honestly say that what they talked about at the master plan meetings is what is on their plan. So the overall density is only 4 units per acre, which is pretty amazing for a site like that. They're still talking multifamily, just like they were from the start, but it's a low density, high density, which is an interesting thing. This would be about 70% of the site preserved. And then the city would pick up about an acre or so adjacent to English Hills Park. And that sets us up for some strategic things at the recreation level that we'll talk about. So the developer is also reaching out to the neighbors as he has done in the past and is holding additional meetings. So that's why we felt comfortable putting this one on the agenda. They're doing quite a bit of outreach. And so that will be March 24th and details to follow. That's it.
Yeah, Frank may not have heard you. Is that a 7 PM meeting? Frank?
I think it's going to start at 6:30. That's what whatever planning commission has been doing, it'll be the same start time, but it will be the only item on the agenda.
6:30.
6:30. There you go.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Swansell.
I'll try to do it in 4 minutes or less. Just a couple of comments. We're continuing to monitor, obviously, the federal COVID relief act that they're talking about in Washington. We were updated today by the MML, and it looks very favorable to the cities and villages. So we'll keep that on the radar and let you know how much we will receive and what it can be used for. It sounds like they're still sorting out what the uses for those funds can be, and there are some restrictions. So we'll continue to monitor that at the federal level, and then as well at the state level. I know there's still talk about assisting the income tax cities, so we're still pushing for that as well. I think we'll find out there as well, but we could see some significant influx of revenue coming in if both of those sources come to fruition. So once that happens, we'll obviously sit down with the commission and the finance committee and decide, how we're going to set that aside or what projects we're going to use that for or what we can use that for, and have those discussions. So continue to monitor both of those. And again, they both look very favorable at this point. And then lastly, the gypsy moth season will be upon us before we know it. So just to give you an FYI, we will be doing spraying again this spring. Probably usually that happens in May, June timeframe, but we will get the notices out. Generally the same areas where we've sprayed before. I think the areas have enlarged slightly from last year. I think we did a little over 600 acres, and we will propose to do about the same this year. So I'll keep you posted as that moves along, but I just got the report from the sprayer, or Neil Swanson, who does the surveying for us, recommending the spraying. So more to follow on that, but if you get any questions from your constituents, we will plan on moving forward with that project as we have. And that's all budgeted monies in this current year's budget. So that's all I have right now. If you have any questions.
Can you remind me, did you say when that was going to be occurring?
It really is weather dependent, but generally it's in May sometime.
Is it? Okay, I thought it was the month of May. I wasn't quite sure.
Yep. Depends on the spring.
Yeah, no kidding.
Days like we're having today, it might be really, really soon.
Yeah, Daryl brought that good weather back.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Hey, we'll give this, everybody needs a refill on anything. We'll give this a quick, about 30, 45 seconds here, and we'll get started in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy smiley faces. We're good. Mr. Rotman, anybody in the waiting room currently?
Nope.
All right, thank you. I'll check with you a couple more times. Go ahead and call the 7 o'clock City Commission meeting to order. I will be happy to deliver the invocation on behalf of Commissioner Groders. My notes here, if you would bow your heads in prayer with me, please. We thank you for your presence here this evening as we assemble together. We ask with humility that you continue to guide us in representing our community. We give special thanks today on International Women's Day for the special women leaders we have on our city commission and the role models they serve as. We also pray for your continued presence over those who serve us in military and public safety, who, by their sacrifices, ensure we are able to safely and securely enjoy the freedoms that we do. All of these things we give thanks for and pray in your name. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Mr. Rotman, do you happen to have a U.S. flag here by chance? Oh, great system. Thank you. I'm going to go off video for us here. If you'd please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And if I could please ask our deputy clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Present.
Commissioner Glanville,
Present.
Commissioner Heisinger Chase, Commissioner DeShane,
Present.
Commissioner Rapp,
And if I could please ask for an excuse absent for Commissioner Groders.
I'll make a motion to excuse.
Thank you. Motion Commissioner DeShane, support from Commissioner Rapp. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, excused absence. Next on our list is approval of the minutes from the February 22nd, 2021 City Commission meeting. Is there any other discussion on any discussion on these minutes? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Chase. Do we have support? Saw Commissioner Rapp or heard Commissioner Rapp. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? And the minutes are passed. Mr. Rotman, anybody out in the waiting room?
Nope.
Thank you. Next on the list is consent agenda expenditures in the amount of $1.5 million, $13,384.88. Are there any questions on expenditures? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
I have a question. Let me find it really quickly. Okay. It was, are we having problems? There was something to do with Constantine irrigation and it said maintenance and repairs. Are we having problems with, is that from Walker Ice and Fitness or is it our sprinkling?
I think it's probably DDA expense down in the DDA because we have a large irrigation system there, and that's who
Okay.
we use as a contractor there.
Okay, I just didn't know, it said repairs. Did we have something happen?
Um,
Or was that just a line description that's normal?
I know there
I
was,
could
oh, go on, Daryl.
no, go ahead. You probably, go ahead.
I think there was some damage out there with all the work in the right of way that's been going on.
Okay, I was
And
just
there's-
curious because I've not seen that before where it says repairs. So, all right, well, not too horrific, 2388, but I just was curious.
Yeah, and that's from the DDA fund also, so that's a DDA expense.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of know if it was where it was about, if it was
Yep.
DPW or I mean DB, if it was Walker Ice, I wasn't quite sure. All right, thank you, that's it.
All right, any other questions on the finances? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Glanville. Do we have support?
I'll support,
Commissioner Rapp beat you to the punch.
that's all right.
Are there any other discussion on the bills? Otherwise, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, bills are passed. Next on our list is Resolution 21-594, the MDOT contract with the City of Walker for Kinney Avenue improvements and trail. We discussed those in the 6:30 hour with our city engineer. Is there any other discussion on this? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, maybe from our second ward commissioners.
I'll make a motion.
I will support.
All right. Motion Commissioner DeShane, support from Glanville. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, resolution 21-594 carries. Mr. Rotman, do we have anybody else out in the public waiting room?
Nope.
Thank you. I'll come back to you one more time before we close out, just because we're moving a little quick here. Let's jump over to commissioner comments. We're going to look at the screen with our women leaders for the day. Commissioner DeShane, you're on the top row of Brady Bunch here. You'll go first. Commissioner
All right.
Second, Commissioner Heising, Commissioner Chase, we'll let you go third, just the way you're on the screen here. So Commissioner DeShane, any comments for the group?
I just wanted to wish, I had this written down, I just wanted to wish my other commissioner, female commissioners, happy International Women's Day. You are some of the strongest women that I know, and you inspire myself. I'm sure you even inspire yourselves and a lot of our young women. So thank you for all you do. That's all I have, because I've already made my other comments during the meeting itself.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Glanville?
Well, right back at you, Commissioner DeShane. And I'd like to add our deputy clerk into that as well. It's really proud for me to see how many female leaders we have at the city of Walker. I think it's a little bit special. You don't see that everywhere. So excited to be among the group and to be learning and growing with all of you and working alongside you and our male colleagues as well.
Absolutely.
I do have a quick question, and this is maybe for Daryl and Frank. I had a communication from somebody with Village Woods condominiums today, and there was something coming up on Planning Commission that they had some questions about. Is that, I understand we're going to be hearing more about the U-Haul or the development there.
Yeah, that is most likely the hearing about an enforcement action on that U-Haul. Well, it's not a U-Haul site. That's what the enforcement is about. The lock and store where the former D&W was.
Okay.
What happens with those type of businesses is the first business will come in and go to Planning Commission, and there'll be rules attached, et cetera, and then they get flipped. It's kind of like the new strip mall. And then the second business may not, follow the original business and its regulations. And that's where we're at with that site. So my guess is that it has to deal with an interpretation that the U-Haul use is not permitted on that site.
And that's going to be discussed this week at Planning Commission? Or?
I believe that's a ZBA meeting on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I think we had directed, because that came up at our Planning Commission meeting when they had come through for proposed external access storage. I think we had said that if they want to keep doing that, they're going to need ZBA approval.
Yeah, it's on our ZBA agenda for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I will let them know then that it's ZBA that they should be looking at. And those meetings are open to the public, is that right? Or
open to the public, and all the information is right on your calendar off of the website. If they just go to meeting and agendas, that information is posted.
Okay, I'll make sure they get the right information then so they can follow up on that. Thanks.
Commissioner Glanville, good point of order on that one. Where they used to start at 7 o'clock, they start at 6:30 now.
Okay.
So just I want to make sure have somebody be late for that.
Sure. Okay, thanks. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I believe the Bring the Basics drive is up and running at the fitness center. I haven't had a chance to confirm that with Mary Kay, but I was in on the email planning and everything. So Frank, is that right?
That's correct. The signs are up and it is underway.
Yeah, I got to stop in for that. Just to remind you all, we're doing collections for some, it's going through the United Way, through Women United. And the items that are collected go to a variety of local organizations. And they're things like, towels, basic personal care items, things like that. So I'll make sure that we get more of that out on the social channels. I know Nicole is going to be involved with that too. So it goes on for the full month of March. So I just wanted to make sure we had things kind of going before I started, sounding the alarm, so to speak. So, and I think that's all I have for us today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Chase?
We had a community engagement meeting last week, Monday, and we're looking forward to doing some new things this spring. We're looking at doing a community garden at some point, so we're working on that right now. So more details to come on that.
Nice.
Yeah, I cannot say enough, Commissioner Heisgate. I happen to have a chat with our chairperson for the community engagement committee, and I just continue to be absolutely in awe of the projects, the ideas, all the, I'll call it ideating that's taking place in the group. And not everything might not be the right fit, but there's a lot of great things going on. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right, looking at the list, Commissioner Rapp, you are on the second row. Commissioner Gilbert, you're on the bottom row, so we'll come back to you then. All right, Commissioner Rapp.
Same thing as to kind of mirror Commissioner DeShane and Glanville with Women's History Month. Kind of thanks to all of you, including me, here in city staff, elected officials, and all around the community and country. So thank you everybody for what you do. You do such a great job at it. Also, I'd like to take this moment to congratulate Chief Greg Long on his announcement of his retirement. I was fortunate enough to have Greg hire me back when he was a sergeant as a part-time dispatcher. I think that was just like a couple years ago, I don't know, late 90s. So anyways, that will be sad for us here in the community, but good for him and his family. So congratulations to him and his family. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Rapp. Commissioner Gilbert?
Yeah, I echo the comments that have been made about International Women's Day. It's great to see so many outstanding female leaders that we have in the city of Walker, and look forward to more contributions from all of you moving forward. Chief Long, again, echoing Commissioner Rapp's comments here. He's been an outstanding leader for our department, and it's a tough loss for us, but I wish him and his family all the best. I'm sure that they'll be happy to have him enjoying retirement. Moving on from those items, some of the other updates I have, Rapid Board, we met the week of our last commission meeting. One thing that came up, the Rapids, we entered a new contract for bus shelters, and we've actually got some really interesting designs on some of those shelters. It's this thin profile, so it doesn't have the traditional sides that you would expect. So it's essentially a back and a cover. Now, why I bring that forward is because we've got some areas where there are some really unique settings where there are bus stops on Alpine Avenue. And we've got some benches and other resources from the Rapid that are in total disrepair. And I've called and had some of them removed just because they were in such bad shape that it was a hazard to anyone sitting on them at that point. So to that end, I think there will be some collaboration and coordination between myself and some of our Rapid staff, and there already has been, on where some of those resources might be able to find a home in the city of Walker. So hopefully more to come on that. But yeah, I think the condition of some of the things that some of those benches on Alpine Avenue is really unfortunate. If you drive the area often, you can probably take note next time you're through. The other thing going on at the Rapid that was pretty significant at our last meeting, and maybe the mayor can speak more to this, but we're having discussions on the expansion of township service. This impacts us because Route 9 goes into Alpine Township, and it's a pretty significant generator of trips. So we're having some discussions about how we're going to handle those bus routes moving forward. I don't think we're talking about anything that's going to have a serious impact on Route 9, but it's something that we're looking at moving forward, going into our new new service model. Other than that, the ordinance committee did meet. We finally got the food truck ordinance moving forward. So that one hopefully is coming to a close, and we should see it here for action, I hope, in very short order. And that is it for me.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Gilbert. A few things. I'll start with, as you just mentioned, the rapid piece. There's multiple meetings we had this week with the review of the township, proposed township expansion, and you know, I would say that there's a lot of complexity with this. There's no easy answer because some of the ideas and concepts being proposed, and we need to make sure that the people that need to get to their jobs and use that service can actually get there. So that all being said, excited about that. We mentioned Chief Long's retirement. He'll have a definitely a you know, really strong going out parade here over the spring and summer months. Personnel will be meeting this Friday. We'll be discussing the framework of what that process looks like. I am able to share with you, I did reach out to Sheriff LaJoy Young, whose opinion and background is one that not just myself, but Chief Long and other leaders value immensely. She's agreed to be a part of our evaluation process. So that gives us a you know, another set of eyes, but I think an experienced set of eyes that, quite frankly, none of us are able to give because of her history and relationship, you know, with things. So more to come on that. Personnel again meets on Friday. That framework will be discussed at that point. Our go forward. Our state of the city, thank goodness, got off with a whole lot of fanfare. I know Nicole is not on the call, but one of the reasons that she stood out in the interview process was her ability to orchestrate special events and do it flawlessly. She did an outstanding job in the guerrilla production. Again, did a second year in a row, just an outstanding job. And for me as a leader, after what we've been through this past year and the outlook to 2021, I felt that theme of community, priorities, and confidence is something that really resonated well with me. And it's something that's gotten me through, you know, the dark days of the pandemic, and kept me resilient. But when I think of Lost Art Brewing 2, where we held it at, I shared even in the monthly newsletter today, just a little background on the two gentlemen that opened that up. And I know for those of us that remember them coming to us the very first time about this idea of a brew house down Remembrance Road, it just seems like yesterday. And there's, you know, all these things that we were discussing about, what about this, what about that? And they have just been an outstanding addition to our community. And I just love, thankfully we're done, I think, with the 10 to 15 degrees days out there, but it's kind of neat to see, you know, it true Michigan, West Michigan weather. It's that cold out and people sitting outside, you know, distant apart and everything, but having, you know, cold beverage but just that sense of community there's a bit of an inspiration for me personally down there. So hats off to Brad and Mike there. The last two items, thank you to the American Legion Post 1111. They started this great idea of the flag retirement boxes back months and months ago. The first one went down at Sobeys, as everyone knows. The second's here at City Hall. There may be a third one at some point in the near future. And I remember when that first one went in down at Sobeys, and that first 24 hours, that was overflowing with retired flags that needed to be properly disposed of. And it's a great symbolism of our community, and that they didn't just get thrown in the trash. They're being properly disposed of as they should. And then Commander Wilmers and the Post 1111 worked with Fox to get a great news story done this past week, highlighting the retirement of those boxes, as well as the flag retirement pit, which I think is kind of a neat thing, because then Eagle Scout Huizinga, now Marine Recruit Huizinga, hopefully by the time he gets back in August, which is when we'll do the dedication that you'll all know about at that point. Should be private first class Heising at that point as he comes back. So I'm looking forward to that. I do not want to do this any sooner. I made a commitment to him that this would be here when he got back. And while I'm confidently optimistic that we have turned the corner in our pandemic fight, this is something that quite simply can wait until he is back. So we'll get that done then. Jason Rotman, thank you again. That was the last thing I had, is just your continued diligence, keeping us and our meeting attendees from people looking to make bad decisions during our meetings. So we don't say thank you enough. You're on planning, you're on ZBA, and you help set us up for all the other city meetings that we're doing remote, which we should soon come to an end. Pretty excited about that stuff. So I can't say thank you enough for your help. So as we give you a shout out here, I'll ask one last time, is there anybody else out in the waiting room?
No problem. No.
All right, love hearing that. Unless there is anything else for the good order, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment and support.
Motion.
I'll support.
Commissioner Gilbert, Commissioner Chase, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, bye.